because oil stocks in general are getting smoked. You kind of have like double trouble right there. This is like, if you like small caps, you can definitely keep this one on the list. Obviously, the SSR is going to be on this one. You got to let it squeeze and then kind of fizzle out. Potbelly, PB, PB. Potbelly is another one. Man, I used to love their sandwiches back in the day. This thing is going to be a little bit tricky here. Man, I'm 50-50 on that one. AMAG. Now, AMAG is something I think that you can keep on the list. So if you see the gap on AMAG, it's going to take it down under this $8 support here. That's going to have some room to run. This one's also got SSR on it. The volume is in this one. So, this thing could get shredded right at the open. It looks like results missed, estimates, lower guidance. I mean, those are never good things. That one's going to have a chance for sure. This one looks pretty good. Let's add that to the list. Man, there's a lot of plays out today. ATNX. Dun, 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 dun. See, this one's not going to be clean enough. It's going to take it right down to over here. I would take a pass on that one for now. That's not my particular cup of tea because it's not going to be clean enough. Zag. Zag looks okay too. Let me see if I got bars on this. No. Screw Zag. FTR, SSTI. Woo, there's all sorts of little plays out on today. SSTI. This is another one that's a software application company. You've got room down to like maybe 26 on this bad boy. Only 9 million share float on this. Let me see what the borrows are. Yeah, there's a few laying around. You could put this on the list. It's going to be a little bit thinner, and it's going to have a spread due to the fact that the float on it's only 10 mil. But you got like an overall, kind of rollover on this one. I'd give that like a B minus. SS to the TI. No, it's GWPH. Whoa. So GWPH is this thing is kind of gapping up at the no man's land. So to me, like when I see something like this, unless it starts taking out these MAs, it's kind of just too messy. They tend to be rollovers. If you remember last time GWPH gapped up, it rolled over like $20 right at the open too. So this one's kind of in that middle. We got to probably be able to kind of cut that one off. I don't know if that one's going to have the juice that we want on it. Dun, 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 dun. Car auction services. This one's got room down to 20. It usually does a decent amount of volume, so liquidity won't be a problem on this. Hey, Corey, what's up, baby? Yeah, J-Nug is hot right now. I can't chase this thing up, though. I'd keep Car on the list. What do you think? Yeah, I think it's got enough room. More the issue is going to be like how much volume does it come in? It's only got 3,000 shares going right now. So I usually like to see like 10 plus, but closer to 50. What we have seen though is some of these bad boys that aren't doing that much pre-market, they still can get smoked out. So now we've got like like this one had nothing. It didn't even show up on the list till a little bit later, and then it ended up getting shredded. So sometimes the volume does come in. If a stock is like a little bit more unknown, then you'll have, hey Chris, what's up, man? Where you been? You still have a chance on this one. Then you can see like all these little oil ETFs and stuff are getting smoked out. So in general, man, there's quite a lot of plays here. Oil stocks all looking like shorts. Man, everything is looking like, everything looks bad till it's good, right? So if you're looking at where the overall location is, let's use a 30-minute chart so we can kind of see the levels here. If you're looking at the overall location on the Qs, you're starting to break under support from yesterday. So that's going to take us down into potentially the lows from the previous day. Now, the market is known for like breaking under lows and then breaking back over. So you got to kind of prepare for two things today. Number one is the gap down is actually pretty big. So we're already going to be a little bit stretched. Now, even though we're stretched, like this market has shown us, we were down almost 1,000 points the other day. We can go lower. We have to play for either a break of lows and it actually holds, or a break of lows and a break back under, like a little shake and bake. That's gonna be really, really important. So just be mindful of kind of where we are. It's gonna give us a little bit of credence on how we've got to play this. You're gonna have to be able to play these things both ways. I anticipate us flipping a couple times from longs to shorts, longs to shorts. That's the way it goes when the market's volatile. If you are not good at reading the locations on the market and where things are, then what you need to do is play just earnings plays in stocks that have PRs out. These stocks are going to move irregardless to what's going down. So I think top of the list is still GH, because your float on this is only 10 million, even though it's a $7 billion company. As long as we can hold out above that breakout spot, then we're going to be good to go. So right into that sweet spot. Now, WW, this one's okay. I think there's going to be a decent amount of shorts on this. Let's take a look here real quick. Yeah, you got 14% of the float is short, so you got a decent amount of shorts on this one. I think that one's going to have this one will have a chance too. So keep this on the watch. And then Sedig is still hanging out over here. Boom, 16. Oh, anything as long as it hangs out over 69, we good. Mitch, as long as it hangs out over 80, we're good. This one's already starting to roll over a little bit, so you just got to be careful. It's got to start to break its way back up. Chris, how's your brother? NVTA, Newer, INGN, AMAG, SSTI. Man, we got a nice list going here. I don't think we really need much else on this. If the market starts to ramp back, I mean, some of these stocks will be able to be traded both ways, but you can see like a lot of these charts are starting to break, meaning they're just not looking good. Like, like a stock like ZM, ideally you want to see it kind of like hanging out over its MAs. Because now, like if it starts to bounce, you're just gonna run into resistance. So what you really need to be doing is looking for like cleaner stocks. Like this MTZ. This is a stock that's broken out. Like this actually, even with the market up or down, like it's been really hanging out pretty well. Like that's a stock that's really clean, that's been holding support. That's something that we can roll with. ALLK, I believe they did their offering here. So their prices upsize offering is 77 per share. So price 350 million up from 200. So they sold a little bit more. So that's about 10% of its market cap. It's actually holding up pretty well. Got up to 85. This one I think is still going to be in play because once a lot of times if an offering is big, it'll just knock a stock down because they'll dilute the crap out of it. But if a hot stock, and people have been expecting an offering, if a hot stock has an offering and it actually holds above the offering price, which is 77, then what's going to happen is they can often get bought up and start to re-ramp. This thing has the ability to move $20 in a day, which is actually pretty cool, right? I mean, they might have just pumped this thing for the offering. Who knows? But we got to watch and see the support from yesterday when it started to drop was about 76. I want to see how it marinates between 76 and 78. If it can start to hold and build, we'll watch for a squeeze. If not, then, you can always short this pig as it is up a lot. And we'll be able to kind of play this thing both ways. You should be able to have borrows on this one. It doesn't seem like it's hard to borrow. So just kind of be mindful. Everything else is kind of gapping right back down into support. So I think these things are going to have to pull back a little bit lower. Main focus is these earnings plays, because all these rest of these stocks, they're going to be really dependent on market conditions. And right now, the market's going to swing both ways. I'm expecting 1 to 2 double Lutsies today, right? So 1 to 2 double Lutsies today. And a double Lutsie is, okay, everything looks nasty, then you squeeze, and we think everything is looking good after we squeeze, and then we roll back over. I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 of those kind of moves today in general, as we're just in a news-driven cycle right now, and that news flow is, coupled with the technicals, is really in control of everything. We got more than enough stuff to play here. I don't think that we have to really fuck around too much with just like market-driven stocks. What you can do is, once the market starts to squeeze up or down, use your ETFs. You got TQQ, add that to the list, and then TVIX. So focus is earnings plays, TQQ, TVIX. You don't really need much else. Eric, let me look. BYND. Yeah, I mean, this thing is probably a bleeder. I'm not sure. Do you have borrows on it? If it broke under the 200 SMA, yeah, I think this one, if you break under 200 SMA, you could bleed out even some more. This thing can be a little bit tricky, obviously, just due to the range on it. But watch this thing right here. So this is not the 200. This is the 50 SMA. You can see you had a bear flag. Then you had a big you had a shake and bake on this, meaning it gapped up and went green to red. Now you're kind of popping back up here. If this kind of re-rolls, then you're good to go. Corey is still J-nugging to this day. Corey's still J-nugging to this day. Favorites, GHSEDG, Mitch, then WW, NVTA. I think these are going to be the hot ones. I don't see any little small guys running around today. This is not a good market for small caps right now anyways, due to the fact that the market's just shredding all over the place. You could stick with ETFs and kind of these earnings plays. We're in the midst of earnings season. We'll be good to go. Hey, Miss Gifford, how are you? What's going on? Yeah, Eric, and remember, I wouldn't try to short this thing, above the 50 SMA, because, you may just tap it and bounce. I think BYND's a little... when you look at BYND, after the fact, it always seems like it's so clean. But, I don't know, whenever I'm day trading BYND, when I'm in it, I'm always, all over the place, There's, the days it trends and goes down, it's really nice. But a lot of days, it chops around, and then the range is so big that, you can lose, a buck, 2 point, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points trying to bounce the thing or fade the thing. And, all of a sudden, a small loss turns into a much bigger loss. So just be kind of mindful of the range on this thing. Well, it's good to see you, Ms. Gifford. Danny, what you watching, brother? Coo. Now you got to be you, Ms. Gifford. All right, let's see here. Yeah, there are some of these pot stocks look okay. I don't know, in a shitty market, trading something that doesn't have any volume on it is I don't mind trading something that's a little bit thinner if the market is just red hot. A market's breaking out the highs, it's red hot, then I don't mind trading something that's a little bit thinner. But if you are going to have TVIX running this hot, where it's gapping up $2, then I don't want to really be, trading something that does 500,000 shares in volume, or, even 1 million shares. You can see this thing's really, watch this thing. If it rips over 23, that's where it kind of faded off the other day. It was a 2-tester yesterday, right? So you can see here. After you went red to green, you just kind of double topped, and then you faded back down all day. That's a common thing right there. That's kind of your reversal signal. You'll have to see how it acts over 23. It may try to push it and just go right at the open. We'll be watching it both ways. Hey, Zeph, how you doing? Pod, I was watching Pod yesterday, and it was so thin. Even though it did 2 million shares, 2.4 million shares in volume, there was a spread on it. It was definitely trading thin. The other thing on pod is like, if the earnings day, if you do 2 million shares on the day of earnings, then the day after earnings, you're going to be less than 1 million shares. So this thing is going to be like 500,000, 800,000, maybe a million shares max in terms of how much liquidity and volume it's going to have. So it's just not going to be enough for us. You're going to have a spread. If this thing dumps with the market, then you're going to pay an extra dollar to get out of it because you're going to have to sell it on the bid. You're going to pay that spread. And when you pay that spread, woo, you're going to pay, right? So you can't even really go with more than like a few hundred shares of it, if that makes sense. Oh, yeah, buddy. Dun, 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 dun. That's it for me, guys. We got a nice, easy list going here. I think there's going to be more than enough heaters. So let's go do what we do. Let's have a little fun. Man, the market's been hot. This is the best trading market we've had in forever. The last 2 months, this has been the best trading market we've had since at least we started this chat room. So we'll go and do our shredding and try to get out by lunchtime. All right? Peace in the Middle East, my friends.